Chapter 721, One-Hit KO. In the past, Luo Puti had mentioned that Lu Suingzhen was a poor girl. She was afflicted with a strange illness ever since she was young, which caused her to lose the privilege of shopping, traveling, and falling in love with others. Now, all these desires could not even be fulfilled. If the illness was caused by natural causes, she had no one to blame but fate. However, the truth was this illness was caused by someone. Lu Shenyi and Lu Ziwan came up with this wicked scheme for their personal gain. Including today, the two of them had kept Lu Suingzhen in the dark for 20 years. Now, they wanted to sacrifice her to make Lu Shenyi more powerful. This was inhumane. Not even animals would do such a deed. A person with a good conscience would definitely do something about it to save the poor girl from all these suffering. I should distract them first and save her afterward. Without any hesitation, Chen Xiaobei took a missile out from his treasure chest. That's right. You heard it right. A missile. Chen Xiaobei acquired this missile from the American carrier some time ago. Its size was equivalent to an adult's arm. Normally, this kind of missile was used for close-range battles. It served as suppressive fire to reduce an enemy's forces. With numbers, this type of missile could be stronger than a tomahawk missile. It was enough to draw Lu Shenyi and Lu Ziwan's attention as well as keep a low profile. Seemingly, this was the best strategy so far. Swoosh! Chen Xiaobei tossed the missile into the forest with all his might. Now, he possessed a whopping 30,000 combat power. The strength that he possessed was equivalent to 12,000 pounds of force. He managed to throw the missile to a place that was hundreds of meters from him easily. Kaboom! A loud noise shrilled through the air and the ground shook because of it. Following by that, the forest started to burn. Inside the pagoda. Ah! What the hell is going on? Startled, Lu Shenyi almost jumped up from where he sat. Calm down. How old are you? You are not supposed to be startled by the explosion. What a shameful moment. Lu Ziwan glared at Lu Shenyi. He then stood up and said, I'm going to check it out. Two of you, please continue. No matter what happens, the mystical yin seal has to be broken today. Yes. Lu Shenyi gulped and quickly regained his composure to continue the process. Meanwhile, Lu Suingzhen was in great pain with her body shuddering non-stop. She was about to collapse. It was as if she had already lost the strength to speak. After that, Lu Ziwan stepped out from the pagoda. Knowing that he was going to return really soon, he did not bother to lock the door behind him. Within seconds, Lu Ziwan managed to dash as far as 10 meters. I have to act quickly. That old F***CK will return really soon. By that time, I won't be able to leave the tower anymore. Without wasting any time, Chen Xiaobei took off his Night Stalker's outfit and mask. He would not be able to attack his enemy if he stayed invisible. The most important thing was Lu Suingzhen would definitely not leave the tower with an invisible man willingly. That was just weird. In order to not let his enemies discover his true identity, Chen Xiaobei took out a Monkey King mask and put it on his face. Upon entering the pagoda, Chen Xiaobei lifted his fist and punched Lu Shenyi without saying a single word. Who is that? Bewildered, Lu Shenyi saw that a person with a black outfit and a mask was going to attack him. No True Kong? What a joke! Bastard, you have a death wish. Initially, Lu Shenyi was feeling nervous. After seeing that his opponent was not equipped with True Kong, he became arrogant all of a sudden. A person with no true nirvana cultivation fighting with a person with true nirvana cultivation was simply suicidal. This was the undeniable truth in Jianghu. Clearly, Lu Shenyi was not pleased that a goon with no True Kong attacked him. One finger is enough to defeat you. In an arrogant manner, Lu Shenyi lifted his finger and his True Kong started to surround it and formed a sharp knife. His True Kong finally materialized. It was powerful enough to put a hole into an ordinary person. Who told you that I do not have True Kong on me? Fearless, Chen Xiaobei continued to dash toward Lu Shenyi. The old Chen Xiaobei would definitely not dare to attack Lu Shenyi. Now, Chen Xiaobei was confident enough to make Lu Shenyi paid for what he did to Lu Suingzin. It was not true that Chen Xiaobei did not have True Kong. His True Kong form resulted from the scripture of heaven and earth was different than most of the people. Basically, it was not visible to the naked eye. Lu Shenyi would surely be defeated if he underestimated Chen Xiaobei. Why is he here? Suddenly, Lu Suingzin felt nervous. Initially, she did not have any intention to stop what was she doing. The moment she heard Chen Xiaobei's voice, her hands shook and the hand gestures that she memorized earlier was messed up. She did not know what to do after knowing that Chen Xiaobei was here. Instinctively, she took out a white veil and covered her face. Idiot! What are you doing? You can't stop at such an important moment. All of our efforts are wasted because of you. You are a stupid b***ich. Seeing that Lu Suingzin was not doing anything to break the eighth seal, Lu Shenyi started chiding her. Brother, did you just scold me? Clearly, Lu Suingzin did not expect that her own brother would scold her. No. I'm not scolding you. Promptly, Lu Shenyi realized that he was being rude toward Lu Suingzin. He then tried to blame Chen Xiaobei for it. This bastard is the one that made me angry. I'm going to kill him now. Brother. No. Lu Suingzin screamed in fright. She was there when Bei Xian faction was formed. To her, she assumed that Chen Xiaobei had not grown much since that day. There was no way that he could defeat Lu Shenyi. What no? Even the disciples of Xianjian faction will have to face the death penalty if they step into this forbidden ground. He is just an outsider. All the more reason for me to kill him. It was impossible for Lu Suingzin to convince Lu Shenyi when he was in such an angry state. He then stood up and attacked Chen Xiaobei with his finger. You shameless bastard! You are the one that should be killed! Chen Xiaobei yelled. Do you really think your useless cultivation is powerful enough to kill me? Die! Lu Shenyi roared. He wanted to use his finger to cut off Chen Xiaobei's fist and put a hole in his chest. Clearly, he was not pleased that Chen Xiaobei interrupted his wicked scheme. No! Lu Suingzin screamed once again. However, there was nothing she could do due to her weak body. Feeling helpless, she closed her eyes. However, before Lu Shenyi could finish his sentence, he was astonished by what he saw. Pow! The True Kong knife was shattered into pieces after came in contact with Chen Xiaobei's fist. On the other hand, Chen Xiaobei's fist was unharmed. How? How is this even possible? Lu Shenyi was so shocked that his eyes and mouth were wide open. He thought Chen Xiaobei was just a piece of garbage without true nirvana cultivation. Obviously, he did not think that he would be defeated by Chen Xiaobei. Chen Xiaobei punched his chest without hesitation. Pow! A muffled sound echoed as Lu Shenyi was sent flying by Chen Xiaobei's fist. Chapter 722, Snatch and Go. Blarg! Lu Shenyi spat out a mouthful of fresh blood and landed on the wall like a cannonball. Cracks started to spread on the stone-hard wall by the force delivered by Chen Xiaobei. How is that even possible? You have True Kong. But I couldn't see it. This is not possible. While clutching his chest, Lu Shenyi mustered all his strength to stand up and lean on the wall. He did not use True Kong to protect his physical body as he underestimated Chen Xiaobei. Now he had to suffer internal injuries. The thing that he could not figure out was how Chen Xiaobei came up with 30,000 combat with True Kong cultivation when he did not see any True Kong around Chen Xiaobei's fist. It was as if his fist was protected by an invisible layer of armor. The aftermath of the battle made him feel like his chest would explode anytime soon. This is incredible. Sitting on the ground with a puzzled look, Lu Suingzin could not believe that Chen Xiaobei had become so powerful. However, Chen Xiaobei could not take a good look at her reaction because her face was covered by a white veil. Let alone the invisible Trukong, Lu Suingzhen found it hard to believe that Chen Xiaobei's combat power had almost doubled up since the last time she saw him at Beixian faction. Such speedy improvement raised a lot of questions in her head. All the while, Lu Suingzhen thought that her training speed was the fastest in this Jianghu. Upon comparing with Chen Xiaobei, she realized that she could never improve as fast as Chen Xiaobei. Suingzhen, don't just sit there. Be careful. Suddenly, Lu Shenyi screamed out loud. What? Baffled, her soft and elegant hands were being lifted up by a huge hand. Come with me. While his hand was pulling Lu Suingzhen close to him, he bent down and lifted her long legs. After making sure that she was held tightly, Chen Xiaobei exited the pagoda. Bastard! Stand right there! Where are you bringing my sister? Ignoring the injuries on his body, Lu Shenyi picked up his dragon void sword and went after Chen Xiaobei. On the other hand, Chen Xiaobei could not care less about him and continued to run deep into the forest. Grandpa! Come over here! Someone kidnapped Suingzhen. Considering that Lu Shenyi had suffered some really serious injuries, he could no longer catch up to Chen Xiaobei. Rendered with no other options, he had to call Lu Ziwan to help him. Where are you bringing me? Lu Suingzhen had not recovered from what she experienced just now, but she did not ask Chen Xiaobei to let go of her because she knew that she could trust him completely. I'm bringing you away from Xianjian faction. While running, Chen Xiaobei tried to explain everything to Lu Suingzhen. There is a mystical yin holy hexshum in your body. If the mystical yin seal is broken, your body would be destroyed in no time. I'm confident enough to tell you that you will be dead within 3 years. How is that even possible? My grandpa told me that my illness is caused by this strange worm. I will be healed completely after the worm is extracted from my body. Then, I will be able to. With you. Lu Suingzhen stopped talking after that. You are too naive. All Lu Ziwan and Lu Chun cares about is breaking the final seal. They did not even care that you were suffering greatly. I'm going to be honest with you. When the pain finally kills you, I don't think the two of them will notice it. Think about it. They simply don't care about your life. Do you really think they want you to recover from the sickness? Upon hearing that, Lu Suingzhen was taken aback. After putting some thought about it, she realized that everything that Chen Xiaobei told him was true. However, had a hard time accepting the truth. Don't spout nonsense. My grandpa and brother are very nice. They would never want to hurt me. I'm going to tell you the cold harsh truth. The both of them treated you like a pig all this while. That was why they treated you nicely. Now, they want to kill and eat you. If you still think that they are still being nice to you, it is no different from walking into hell. PSST. I'm not a pig. You are a pig. To his surprise, Lu Suingzhen's voice was so soft and gentle that it was turning his body into jelly. Judging from her body and voice, Chen Xiaobei could imagine her gorgeous look even though there was a veil covering her face. However, this was not the time to think about stuff like this. Chen Xiaobei regained his composure and said in a serious manner, "Just follow me. I will cure your illness. When you recover, you will know that everything that I just told you is the truth. What makes you think that I will run away with you willingly? I'm not that close to you. What if you are a villain? It's totally understandable that you find it hard to trust me. Unfortunately, you are not strong enough to fight me now. You have no choice but to let me bring you to somewhere safe. You are ridiculous. Let me go. I don't want to go with you." Even though she rejected Chen Xiaobei, she was feeling really nervous deep down. When Beixian faction was formed, Lu Suingzhen had witnessed Chen Xiaobei summoned lighting to defeat those Japanese ninjas. At that moment, Chen Xiaobei was exuding with dominant aura. Even she could not figure out why was she so crazy about Chen Xiaobei's dominant personality. You should stop talking. If I'm a villain, I wouldn't explain everything to you patiently. Lu Ziwan and Lu Shenyi will be attracted by your loud voice if you continue to speak so loudly. By that time, both of us will not be able to escape from this place. Dong! 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 Suddenly, the sound of a big bell could be heard from within the forest. Shit! This is the highest level warning signal from Xianjian faction. Leave me and run. If not, all 10,000 Xianjian faction disciples will come after you. By that time, you will not be able to escape from this place even if you have a pair of wings. No one can stop me even if I have a pair of wings. There is no way that I'm going to leave you here. Chen Xiaobei could put on his Night Stalker's outfit and somersault cloud and leave this place if he wanted to. Set aside 10,000 people, not even 1 million people could stop him from leaving this place. However, Chen Xiaobei would never leave Lu Suingzhen here. Leaving her was no different from pushing her into hell. However, he could not trust Lu Suingzhen fully yet. That was why he did not reveal all those magical items in front of her. All he could do was run as fast as possible to exit Mount Xianjian. Don't go there. It's a cliff, exclaimed Lu Suingzhen. What? A cliff? Just when Chen Xiaobei wanted to go in a different direction, he heard someone was approaching them. We can't make it in time. They are here. A smiling face with heart-shaped eyes, smiling face with heart-shaped eyes, smiling face with heart-shaped eyes. Chapter 723, surrounded by 10,000 people. Just leave me here. Run for your life. This is the highest level warning signal. From the faction leader to all the disciples will come and pursue you. The moment they use their weapons to fight us, there is no way that you can leave this place safely while carrying me, said Lu Suingzhen nervously. Just stop talking. No one can change my mind after I've decided. As usual, Chen Xiaobei was behaving in a determined manner. Although he sounded calm, he was exuding a domineering aura. Now he held Lu Suingzhen even tighter, now afraid that he might drop her by accident. Why are you so stubborn? There are tens of thousands of people in Xianjian faction. All of them are trained to wield swords and fight effectively. We even have a crossbow with the strength of a god, the Zudge repeating crossbow. Whether sword or arrow, all 10,000 of them are powerful enough to defeat any elites that are below pinnacle phase of true nirvana stage. Do you really think you can handle them alone? It doesn't matter. I have fought something bigger than this. Lu Suingzhen frowned and was tempted to call him an arrogant bastard. As she was a sophisticated lady, she decided not to say it out loud. Can you stop acting tough? I'm talking about fighting with 10,000 people. Do you know why elite with pinnacle phase of true nirvana stage is powerful enough to defeat 10,000 people in one go? Although True Kong can be used to deflect arrows and swords, every time when you receive a hit the true chi in your danshan will be reduced. Only a pinnacle phase true nirvana stage elite has enough true chi to fight an army. Judging from your current cultivation, all your true chi will be drained completely when 10,000 arrows land on your body, causing your True Kong to be shattered into pieces. Even if you manage to dodge all the arrows, there is no way that you can run away from those elites that are as powerful as you or more. In Xianjian faction, there are a total of 8 elders with true nirvana cultivation. Including me and brother, there are a total of 9 elites with true nirvana cultivation. Among the 9 of them, 5 of them are at the middle phase of true nirvana stage. My grandpa Lu Ziwan has the combat power to be the top on the God of War leaderboard. And he is just 1 step away from celestial cultivation. Within 3 minutes, my grandpa will catch up to us when all those disciples spot us from far. By that time, it is simply not possible for you to escape from this place. An ordinary person would be scared to death after hearing all those terrifying facts of Xianjian faction. Meanwhile, Chen Xiaobei still had an I do not care look on his face. He then said calmly, if that's the case, I should just stay here for 3 minutes and wait for Lu Ziwan to come to me. I'm going to defeat him first before we leave this mountain. You are really infuriating. After trying to convince Chen Xiaobei for quite some time, Lu Suingzhen realized that Chen Xiaobei would never listen to her. In the end, she was forced to give up on trying to talk Chen Xiaobei out of it. However, she did not know that Chen Xiaobei was actually not trying to act tough. He was the real deal. Earlier, Chen Xiaobei single-handedly destroyed an entire Zuckerberg carrier fleet. This carrier fleet was powerful enough to defeat a demigod. In the end, Chen Xiaobei destroyed the mothership with only a single hit. As a reward, Chen Xiaobei managed to take possession of 8 battleships, 45 F-22 Raptors, and hundreds of missiles. If he had experienced such intense battle, it was only logical that he felt confident that he could defeat 10,000 enemies in one go. Bastard! Stand right there! Run again and we will shoot at you with arrows. Suddenly, a huge number of enemies surrounded them from all the directions. Swoosh! 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 Following that, they prepared to load the arrows on the crossbows. Just like what Lu Suingzhen told Chen Xiaobei earlier, every single disciple of Xianjian faction carried all kind of weapons to deal with them. They would not stop until they make sure their goals were achieved. Shit! There's no way that you can escape this time. Taken aback, a sense of despair could be seen from Lu Suingzhen's eyes. She did not wish any harm to come upon Chen Xiaobei, but there was nothing she could do to protect Chen Xiaobei. Just sit here and wait for me. I'm going to have some fun with them for 3 minutes. I want to test my true strength. With a smile, Chen Xiaobei placed Lu Suingzhen on the ground. He then strode towards his enemies in a confident and arrogant manner. Can you stop acting tough? You'd cry when my grandpa arrives. Feeling extremely nervous, Lu Suingzhen could no longer act like a sophisticated and gentle lady. And Chen Xiaobei was to be blamed for it. I want to meet him. Defeating him would mean no one will dare to come after us anymore, said Chen Xiaobei while smiling. Clearly, Chen Xiaobei had a bigger picture in mind. He was not trying to act tough. Instead, he wanted to put enough fear in everyone's to make sure that no one would have the guts to come after them. As long as Lu Ziwan feared Chen Xiaobei, they would be able to leave this place with no worries. However, if Chen Xiaobei failed to defeat Lu Ziwan, the entire Xianjian faction would definitely come after them no matter where they went. Generally speaking, this was how humans would act when it comes to circumstances like these. When one was powerful enough, the enemies would have to think twice before attacking. You bastard kidnapper! How dare you! Let go of our Lady Lu! If not, hundreds of thousands of arrows will make sure that you die a graveless death. From far, a middle-aged man with white hair shouted angrily at Chen Xiaobei. Following by that, hundreds of crossbows were aimed at Chen Xiaobei. At the same time, more and more enemies started to gather around Chen Xiaobei, making him an easy target. Shoot hundreds of thousands of arrows at me? It seems like you guys want to kill Lady Lu as well. Chen Xiaobei shrugged and pointed his thumb at Lu Suingzhen. This. Everyone listen to me. Put the crossbows down. Let me deal with him personally, shouted the middle-aged man. He then started to stride towards Chen Xiaobei. That is Elder Qing Yun. His cultivation is on the same level as my brother. The reason you defeated my brother earlier was because he underestimated you. Trust me. Elder Qing Yun will not show you any mercy. He will come at you with full strength. And there are so many people surrounding you. You will be killed if any of them attacks you while Elder Qing Yun is attacking you. Why do you care? I'm your kidnapper. Chen Xiaobei turned his head around and stared at Lu Suingzhen. He felt like there was something wrong with this woman. Obviously, this was his first time meeting her. He even hurt her brother and kidnapped her. Instead of feeling angry, she kept on trying to convince Chen Xiaobei to leave this place without her, and she even reminded Chen Xiaobei of all the dangers. This was definitely not logical. With numerous enemies surrounding him, he had forgotten to activate this golden gaze fiery eyes to see through her white veil. He would not have that odd feeling if he knew her true identity. I'm not trying to show you any concern. Save it. Lu Suingzhen turned her head around and did not want to look at Chen Xiaobei anymore. Bastard! How dare you get distracted while fighting me? Die! The sheath slammed into the tree when Elder Qing Yun swung his sword with full force. A dark red sword emerged. I would advise you not to say the word death. If not, you would be that dies on this battlefield. Chapter 724, You are late. What a joke! I'm the elder of Xianjian faction. I have practiced the art of swordplay for almost 30 years. Unlike a greenhorn like you, I alone can defeat dozens of trash like you in one go. It was apparent that Elder Qing Yun did not treat Chen Xiaobei seriously. Right after he finished talking, he swung his sword at Chen Xiaobei. Swoosh! Immediately, his sword was covered in white-grey Trukong. A series of cyclone-like chi was moving around the sword. It looked like it could destroy everything in its sight. Blazing cyclone slash! With both hands holding the sword tightly, Elder Qing Yun was going to cut off Chen Xiaobei's head. In an instant, strong wind began to sweep off all the dried leaves from the ground. A storm was brewing and it was about to tear Chen Xiaobei into pieces. So powerful! That is Elder Qing Yun's ultimate move. It seems like he is not going to allow his opponent to fight back. That masked bastard looks really young. I don't think he can take this hit unharmed. People that are below true nirvana cultivation are just like garbage to elites with true nirvana cultivation. He would definitely be killed if he does not have Trukong to protect himself. Everyone exclaimed in shock. Upon witnessing a sword that was covered in Trukong, their hearts thumped rapidly. All of them thought that Chen Xiaobei would surely be killed. Their eyes were filled with contempt and disdain. This weakling is not worthy of Elder Qing Yun's ultimate move. It is like using a cleaver to kill a chicken. Aren't you going to dodge the attack? Elder Qing Yun has no intention of underestimating you. He can be considered as an experienced elite in Jianghu. Whether it's combat experience or sword skills, his power exceeds yours by leaps and bounds. You will be on the losing end if you engage him in this battle. Lu Suingzhen quickly gave a fair warning to Chen Xiaobei promptly. He shrugged and smiled at her without saying a single word. Shin! With the sword whistling in the air, everyone was stunned. None of them expected that Elder Qing Yun's ultimate skill would be stopped by Chen Xiaobei with a single palm. Such a powerful attack was stopped in mid-air. It seemed Elder Qing Yun could no longer cut Chen Xiaobei into pieces. Using palm to stop an attack from a sword that was surrounded by Trukong. Everyone stood rooted to the spot, speechless. How? How is this even possible? Blazing cyclone slash is powerful enough to cut through steel. How is it possible that a palm that is made of flesh can stop my attack? This is impossible. Am I seeing it wrong? At that moment, even Elder Qing Yun was left in bewilderment. As he had been practicing the art of swordplay for 30 years, blazing cyclone slash was always his pride. He could not believe that someone younger than him just put a stop to his attack with only a palm. He even started to wonder if the blazing cyclone slash that he just used on Chen Xiaobei was fake. I'm not too sure about your eyes. But I'm pretty sure your reaction is too damn slow. While glaring at Elder Qing Yun, Chen Xiaobei lifted his legs. With 30,000 combat power fully activated, Chen Xiaobei then started to channel Trukong to his leg and kicked Elder Qing Yun's crotch at the speed of a cannonball. Pow! With a muffled sound, Elder Qing Yun was sent flying. Ah! Oh! Woohoo! Following a scream of anguish, Elder Qing Yun landed on the ground. At that moment, he was not bothered about his precious sword anymore. All he did was holding onto his crotch. One could see that blood started to flow down from his crotch. Seemingly, Elder Qing Yun had joined the eunuch squad. What the f***ck? This kid is so mean. The muscles on everyone's bodies clenched unconsciously after they heard Elder Qing Yun's agonizing scream. There were also goosebumps on their skin. This. On the other hand, Lu Suingzhen did not know how to react to a scene like that. She felt like laughing and crying at the same time. The man that stood in front of her was faction leader Chen, the one that summoned thunders and killed those elite ninjas within seconds. Though the way he landed a kick on Elder Qing Yun's crotch was really cool, the skill was just. What do you think? I'm pretty good, right? Acting naturally, Chen Xiaobei winked at Lu Suingzhen while saying cheerfully. I thought you told me that the old man has a lot of combat experience. A man should always use True Kong to protect the most vulnerable part of our bodies. He is not worthy to be called an experienced elite. Lu Suingzhen was at a loss for words, unable to communicate with Chen Xiaobei anymore. It seemed like logic could not be applied to him. The more one thinks he cannot do it, the better he does. Judging from the destructive power of the skill, Lu Suingzhen had to admit that this skill was extremely effective. He managed to avoid the probability of him losing by defeating Elder Qing Yun within a second. Using a small effort to win a battle was what a smart man would do. Shameless bastard! How dare you use such dirty trick on Elder Qing Yun? This is not what an elite from Jianghu would do. You are a liability to Jianghu. Elder Zhang. Elder Li. Let's fight him together. Suddenly, another 3 elites from Xianjian faction dashed out and glared at Chen Xiaobei. I'm a shameless bastard? Look at you guys. Tens of thousands of people are surrounding me. Is that fair? 3 of you are going to be attacked me at the same time. 3 elders. This is obviously bullying. Please don't talk about moral principles in front of me. We. Rendered speechless, all 3 elders could only look at each other. Now, the 3 of you are trying to kill me. All I did just now was destroy his crotch. My attack can be regarded merciful. If I put in a tad bit more strength in my kick, he would end up going to hell and talk to Yan Wang, said Chen Xiaobei in a confident manner. He was not trying to give any excuses to himself. That was actually the truth. If Chen Xiaobei formed a sharp knife with his True Kong around his feet, Elder Qing Yun would have been killed instantly. Elder Qing Yun was still breathing because of Chen Xiaobei's mercy. Is it because of me? Is that why you didn't kill Elder Qing Yun? Lu Suingzhen was smart enough to know Chen Xiaobei's intention. Staring at Chen Xiaobei, it seemed like she had thousands of thoughts going through her mind. However, Chen Xiaobei did not reply her. All he did was stare at what laid before him. Among all those disciples, a silhouette was dashing at him at lightning speed. That figure not only moved swiftly but also exuded a murderous aura. Everyone's looks changed when they saw the person. Fear started to drown the crowd. None of them dared to move a single muscle. Grandpa. Lu Suingzhen quickly shifted her attention to where her grandfather stood respectfully. When the silhouette finally stopped moving, an old man with white hair and black attire stood in front of Chen Xiaobei. Like a tiger, he glared at Chen Xiaobei preparing to rip his throat out. Without a doubt, this old man was none other than Lu Ziwan, the one that ranked top on the God of War leaderboard. When everyone was still shocked, only Chen Xiaobei could remain calm. Why are you so late? I have waited for you for quite some time. Chapter 725, Ancestral Invocation, Myriad Swords. You were waiting for me. Lu Ziwan looked at Chen Xiaobei disdainfully while frowning. On the other hand, he did not rush to launch an attack on Chen Xiaobei. To him, there was simply no way for Chen Xiaobei to leave this place even if he had a pair of wings on his back, considering that there were 10,000 people surrounded him. That's right. I've been waiting for you. I heard that you are the man that ranked top on the God of War leaderboard. And you are supposed to be the first one that is going to achieve celestial cultivation. Knowing that you are the leader of 10,000 disciples, I know that no one is bold enough to stop me if I manage to defeat you. What? Do you really think you can defeat me? Is there something wrong with your brain? Are you daydreaming? Upon hearing that, 10,000 people started to laugh at Chen Xiaobei. Did the monkeys in the jungle ask this kid to come here to tell us a funny joke? How can he say such stupid thing? Ain't that right? Other than the people from ancient factions, no one in China is bold enough to claim that they can defeat our faction leader. Please don't take it seriously. He is just an arrogant bastard. Our faction leader can defeat you with only one toe. You are right. This is the funniest joke that I've ever heard. He is just talking shit. There's no need to get serious with him. At that moment, all of Xianjian faction disciples were mocking Chen Xiaobei. To them, Lu Ziwan was the most powerful elite in Jianghu. Like a god, they all worshipped him wholeheartedly. Going against him would be a blasphemy. When they heard Chen Xiaobei declared that he was going to defeat Lu Ziwan, it was no different from an ant claiming that it wanted to kill their god. They looked at Chen Xiaobei as though he was a retarded fool. No one in their right minds would believe Chen Xiaobei was powerful enough to defeat Lu Ziwan. You must be crazy. Why did you taunt my grandpa? Even Lu Suingzhen could not stand to watch Chen Xiaobei acting in such an arrogant manner. Acting tough was fine, but taunting Lu Ziwan was no different from asking for trouble. Suingzhen. Do you know this bastard? Lu Ziwan was observant and sensitive towards his surroundings. Feeling there was something wrong with his granddaughter, he asked that question. Ah? No. I don't know him. I don't even step out from the mansion. How would I know him? Grandpa, you know all my friends. And he is not one of them. Lu Suingzhen explained. Why didn't you engage and defeat him? Are you trying to tell me that you are weaker than him? Acting in a very careful manner, Lu Ziwan would not let go of all the small details. Upon hearing that, the crowd was taken aback. What? Lady Lu has cultivation? I thought she is supposed to be seriously ill? There is no way that she can go through training. Judging from how our faction leader talked to Lady Lu, it seems like Lady Lu is actually pretty darn powerful. What the hell is going on now? Stop guessing. Our faction lead intended to keep this as a secret. In other words, this matter is above our pay grade. Let's not get involved in it. That's right. You are right. Just mind our own business. If not, there will be consequences if we continue being nosy. All those disciples were discussing this matter among themselves. They were wondering how sickly Lu Suingzhen was actually a trained elite with powerful cultivation. Fearing that Lu Ziwan might punish them, none of them dared to talk about it anymore. They could only swallow all unanswered questions that they had in their minds. Facing Lu Ziwan's question, Lu Suingzhen was guilty as charged. All the while, she was an honest. She would not dare to lie to Lu Ziwan no matter what. She was a goner the moment she denied knowing Chen Xiaobei. If it was not for the white veil, Lu Ziwan would know that she was lying to him. Suingzhen. Is there something that you want to tell me? Suddenly, Lu Ziwan felt like there was something wrong with his granddaughter. Immediately, he raised his voice. Feeling nervous, Lu Suingzhen did not know what to do anymore. Old man. Do you have Alzheimer's? Said Chen Xiaobei in disdain. What did you just say? How dare you say that I have Alzheimer's? Glaring at Chen Xiaobei, a domineering and powerful elite aura emanated from him like a bloodthirsty tiger watching its prey. Wheeze. Everyone took in a deep breath. Lu Ziwan's aura was so powerful that it was enough to make all of them imagine that they were surrounded by a group of ferocious beasts. It was as if all of them were going to be eaten alive. Clearly, Lu Ziwan was angered by what Chen Xiaobei said to him. Being crowned as the most powerful elite in China, no one in their right mind would dare to insult and disrespect him. It was definitely his first time hearing someone insult him having Alzheimer's. Am I wrong? Your granddaughter is seriously ill and she is really weak. She would have died before she can do anything to me. So, why would you ask her to attack me? What else could it be if it's not Alzheimer's? I. After hearing Chen Xiaobei, Lu Ziwan almost coughed out a mouthful of warm blood. Knowing that Chen Xiaobei was right about it, he did not even have the chance to defend himself. If he could not provide any valid reason, that would mean he admitted that he had Alzheimer's. He was extremely frustrated since there was nothing he could do about it. Kid. Do you know that you have potty mouth? I'm not going to talk to you anymore. Bring out your weapon to fight me and prepare to be killed by me, said Lu Ziwan furiously. Bring out my weapon? You should show me your weapon first. I do not wish to scare you to death with my weapon, said Chen Xiaobei while shrugging nonchalantly. He then took out his cell phone. The way he held his cell phone was like he was playing a game in an indifferent manner. Are you trying to humiliate me? I have fought countless enemies throughout my life. You are the first one that has the guts to disrespect me. It was obvious that Lu Ziwan was deeply embarrassed by Chen Xiaobei playing with his cell phone in front of him. You will definitely feel regret for what you did to me, said Lu Ziwan in an angry manner. Immediately, his frenzied aura spread to all the people around him, making them take few steps back instinctively. None of them dared to move a single muscle. Even Lu Suingzhen was so nervous that she held her breath, with her palms sweaty. She had never seen her grandfather gotten so angry before. Unfortunately, she told her grandfather that she had never seen Chen Xiaobei. In other words, she could no longer talk to Chen Xiaobei. All she could do was pray and hope for a miracle. Come at me. Let me see the power of the person that's ranked top on God of War leaderboard, said Chen Xiaobei with a smile on his face. Suddenly, the way the crowd looked at Chen Xiaobei had changed from disdain to impassive. It was as if Chen Xiaobei had turned into a pile of dead meat. Lu Ziwan was the only one that thought Chen Xiaobei was no ordinary person. Considering that he had to work really hard to get to where he was today, that was enough to prove that he could see a bigger picture than most. The reason behind it was because he found out that his domineering aura had no effect on Chen Xiaobei. This kid is not as simple as I thought. I cannot underestimate him. After making up his mind, Lu Ziwan let out an angry roar. Ancestral Invocation, Myriad Swords. Chapter 726, The Dragon Head is Destroyed. Ancestral Invocation, Myriad Swords. All Lu Ziwan did was utter 4 words aloud. However, it was enough to create a nuclear explosion in everyone's heart. Oh my god! What happened to our faction leader? He just used his ultimate skill at the beginning of the fight. This is not logical at all. I remember the last time our faction leader used this skill was 7 years ago. That's right. During that time, he was fighting the general of Thunder Kiran's squad. With Ancestral Invocation, Myriad Swords skill, he managed to get the first place in the God of War leaderboard. This is really scary. How did that little bastard force our faction leader to use this skill on him? He is not worthy. This like using a cleaver to kill an ant. Cut the crap. Step back now. If not, we will be killed by this skill as well. While commenting on this matter, the crowd quickly stepped back as far as possible. All of them feared that they might be injured or killed by Lu Ziwan's ultimate skill. Suddenly, a shocking scene was presented in front of them. Shing! 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 All the swords of 10,000 people left their sheaths. It was as if they were alive. 10,000 long swords elevated to midair and formed a sword river rushing towards Lu Ziwan. The sword river then started to circle and turn like a real dragon. Grandpa! It's not necessary for you to get so angry. Clearly, Lu Suingzhen was shocked by the fact that his grandpa was so angry. She knew better than anyone that Lu Ziwan was going to kill Chen Xiaobei for real. One should know that Ancestral Invocation, Myriad Swords was the signature skill of Xianjian faction and it would only be passed down to a male heir, but not female or outsiders. Even though Lu Suingzhen was considered a genius, she was not eligible to learn the skill no matter what. She had not even seen this before. One could imagine that the value and meaning behind this skill were extremely high. Lu Ziwan would only use this skill when he faced off some really powerful enemies like the General of Thunder Kirin squad that he fought 7 years ago. Other than a top-tier battle like that, Lu Ziwan would never use this skill. To Lu Suingzhen, not only would this skill turn Chen Xiaobei into minced meat, but it would also lop off the entire cliff. That was why the disciples of Xianjian faction said that Lu Ziwan used a cleaver to kill an ant. However, the thing that they could not understand was all of them including Lu Suingzhen expected that Chen Xiaobei could be defeated easily. Only Lu Ziwan treated Chen Xiaobei in a completely different manner. Using an ultimate skill in the beginning of the battle proved that he saw Chen Xiaobei as an extremely powerful elite. Roar! The sound of all those swords rubbing into each other sounded like a dragon roaring in the sky. It was definitely beyond terrifying. Little bastard! Do you have any last words? Glaring at Chen Xiaobei, Lu Ziwan used both hands to control the sword dragon. It was all set to attack Chen Xiaobei anytime he wanted. To be honest, this skill is actually pretty cool. Ancestral Invocation, Myriad Swords. Like 100 meters long sword dragon. F***ing awesome, said Chen Xiaobei solemnly. Humph. I'm glad that you actually know that this is beyond awesome. Considered it as an honor to be killed by Xianjian faction's ultimate skill. You can show off to other spirits when you go to hell, said Lu Ziwan arrogantly. He had already assumed that he was going to win this battle. When it came to Ancestral Invocation, Myriad Swords, this old man was confident enough that this skill could defeat all kinds of enemies in this world. Let me finish my words first. What do you want to say? Are you thinking of begging for your lives? That works for me. Kneel before me and kowtow until I'm pleased. Then you can keep your life. Upon hearing that, Lu Suingzhen let out a sigh of relief. She never thought that her grandfather would show mercy to Chen Xiaobei. As long as Chen Xiaobei could put his ego down, he would get to live to see another day. As compared with life, a person's ego was nothing. However, she still did not know Chen Xiaobei that well. To most of the people, life was definitely more important than one's ego. Chen Xiaobei was different. He would rather choose to be killed than asking him to put his ego down and bow to someone. Moreover, he was confident enough that he was not going to die in this battle even though his opponent was the legendary Lu Ziwan. What I want to say is this sword dragon was formed by your metal attribute Trukong. It does look really cool and powerful. However, it will not be able to harm me. What? Everyone was stunned after hearing Chen Xiaobei's bold claim. This little bastard is crazy. How dare he said that such terrifying skill is not going to do a thing to him. Getting our faction leader ever angrier will only speed up his death. I can see the ending. Our faction leader will turn him into ashes. He will cease to exist after this battle. The crowd stood really far away from Chen Xiaobei. To them, Chen Xiaobei was just another ignorant fool. This guy. Can't he just let go of his ego this time? He is doomed. Lu Suingzhen had completely given up on all hope. She thought that Chen Xiaobei would choose to kowtow at Lu Ziwan to keep his life. Not only did Chen Xiaobei refuse to bow to Lu Ziwan, but he also managed to further anger him like adding oil to fire. This was definitely suicidal. Great. This is just great. Very well. I have been dominating the Jianghu for more than few decades. I have seen all kind of people throughout my time in Jianghu. You kid, are definitely the best at acting tough. Since you claimed that my ancestral invocation, Myriad Swords, is useless on you, I shall use this useless skill to send you to hell. Sword. Dragon roars. With a roar, Lu Ziwan swung his hands forward. His metal attribute Trukong was going to drive all the swords to attack Chen Xiaobei. Swoosh! Thousands of swords compressed, making it became bigger and bigger. In an instant, countless swords formed into a giant dragon head and surrounded Chen Xiaobei completely. So powerful! It seems this skill has improved a lot. That's right. That sword chi is enough to tear us into pieces until we stand close to it. Without a doubt. That kid will definitely turn into ashes. 10,000 people exclaimed in astonishment. Just by looking at the terrifying sword formation, it was enough to send a chill down their spines. All of them expected that Chen Xiaobei would be killed instantly. Even Lu Ziwan put on a victorious smile on his face, arrogant and proud. How? How is this even possible? Suddenly, Lu Suingzhen shouted out loud behind Chen Xiaobei. What happened? Everyone else's vision was blocked by the giant dragon head. They had no idea what had happened at the back of the dragon head. Pow! Following by that, a loud explosion could be heard echoing in the sky. The flame was so bright that all the darkness was being chased away, turning a night sky into a bright heaven. After that, the dragon head shattered into pieces. All those swords turned into scraped metal and fell to the ground. Old man! What are your last words? Standing firm and arrogant near the flame, Chen Xiaobei had everything under his control. Chapter 727, It's for your own good. How? How is this even possible? Taken aback, Lu Ziwan could not believe what he just saw. As the most powerful elite in Jianghu, Lu Ziwan had led Xianjian faction to dominate the Jianghu. The way he looked right now was unprecedented. The aura that put fear in everyone's mind vanished immediately. At the same time, everyone including Lu Suingzhen stood frozen like statues. The dragon head that was made of 10,000 long swords. With Lu Ziwan channeling his true Kong into it, its destructive power was supposed to be powerful enough to destroy a cliff. Everyone thought that Chen Xiaobei would turn into ashes after Lu Ziwan launched his attack at him. Nobody would have thought that the dragon head would be the one to shatter into pieces. Standing beneath the sky that was blazing, Chen Xiaobei was still standing there haughtily. All the look of disdains were wiped off everyone's face, replaced with doubt and astonishment. They simply could not figure out what just happened. On the other hand, Lu Ziwan's face was burning hot. He could feel that someone just landed a hard slap on his face. Thinking that he could destroy and kill Chen Xiaobei with his ultimate move, he was surprised that it did not work on Chen Xiaobei. Instead, the end result turned into invisible slaps to his face. I shall send you to hell since you do not have any last words, said Chen Xiaobei nonchalantly while putting his cell phone away. Humph! Do you really think you can scare me? You are not powerful enough to send me to hell. The dragon head blocked Lu Ziwan's view earlier. Hence, he did not see how Chen Xiaobei destroyed his ultimate skill. That was why he still felt doubtful of Chen Xiaobei's true strength. Surrendering to Chen Xiaobei was simply not an option to him. Everyone, listen to my order. Prepare your arrows and bows. Lu Ziwan roared using true qi. It was so loud that it almost deafened everyone's ears. Yes. Yes, master. 10,000 people finally snapped back to reality. Lu Ziwan had not surrendered yet and Xianjian faction was not exactly a bunch of riffraffs. With Lu Ziwan serving as a dragon head to lead them, they were confident enough to defeat all kind of enemies in this world. Immediately, the crowd started to come up with a formation in an orderly manner. They had Chen Xiaobei surrounded with crossbows and arrows. A 10,000 arrows formation was formed. Ancestral Invocation, myriad swords and 10,000 arrows formation. With both of them combined, it could be considered as the powerful combo of Xianjian faction. The top-tier battle starts now. Kid. Are you ready? Lu Ziwan, want to see that. How the hell are you going to counter these two ultimate attacks? Grandpa. No. If you shoot 10,000 arrows in this direction, I will be killed as well. Before waiting for Chen Xiaobei to say anything, Lu Suingzhen let out a scream of anguish. That's right. Faction leader. Lady Lu is still sitting behind that bastard's back. I'm afraid she will be hurt by our attack. This is a huge problem. 10,000 arrows formation is not like Ancestral Invocation, myriad swords. It's not controlled by Trukong and one cannot retrieve an arrow that is shot out. It will be bad if Lady Lu is hurt because of it. Faction leader. Everyone was worried about Lu Suingzin. Most of them watched Lu Suingzin grow to who she was today. That was why they could not bear to see her get hurt. They never thought that Lu Ziwan would interrupt before they could finish with what they wanted to say. Everyone. Shut up. Suingzin. I'm the one that nurtured and raised you. You shouldn't be afraid of death. This is not like you at all. Lu Suingzin looked guilty. It was true that she was not good at lying. Acting like she was afraid of death was not how she would behave at moment like this. When Beixian faction was formed, she was tempted to help Chen Xiaobei a couple of times. However, her life would be threatened by her illness whenever she tried to fight with someone. Considering that her life would be put in danger when she tried to engage in combat with someone, it was enough to prove that she was the kind of woman that was not afraid of death. Acted in such abnormal manner was definitely questionable. Suingzin. Tell me honestly. Do you know this bastard? No. I don't know him. Humph. You lied to me. I know you wanted to protect this son of AB*TCH. How dare you tell me that you don't know him? Feeling nervous, Lu Suingzin's eyes were filled with tears. Humph. I knew it. There is something going on with you and this bastard. Tell me honestly. Who the hell is he? Why did you work together with him? Are the two of you trying to plot something against me? I have put in so much effort and resources to raise you. To my surprise, you are just an ungrateful B*TCH. Grandpa. Why would say something like that? Taken aback, tears begun to roll down Lu Suingzin's face. You are in bad shape. B*TCH. Although her grandpa was not exactly amiable, he had never said something like that to her before. In that brief moment, she was reminded of what Chen Xiaobei told her earlier. All Lu Ziwan did was raise her like a pig to be slaughtered at this moment. I'm the one that raised you. Your life belongs to me. Set aside scolding you, you can't blame me even if I want to kill you, said Lu Ziwan furiously. Looking at his eyes, it was as if fire was spewing out from it. I know you are the one that raised me. That is why I want you to stop. This is for your own good. While crying and enduring the pain, Lu Suingzin tried her to come up with the strength needed to talk Lu Ziwan out of it. What? For my own good? Are you trying to tell me that I can't defeat him? You must be joking. Ha ha ha. Grandpa. You must believe me. His strength is not human-like. All of you will not be able to defeat him. Lu Suingzin was still trying her very best to advise her grandfather, but she did not spill the beans on Chen Xiaobei until the very end. They were two people that she loved and she did not want either of them to get hurt. All she could do right now was try her very best to stop the battle. Yes, master. Everyone obeyed the command and they channeled all their strength to the crossbow to make sure that the rain of arrows was going to be extremely destructive. No, screamed Lu Suingzin in an agonizing manner. Don't cry. Lu Ziwan is not worthy of your tears. Don't kill my grandpa. I beg you. With her final ounce of strength, all she could do was sit there and stare at Chen Xiaobei. Shoot. At the same time, Lu Ziwan bellowed, Ancestral Invocation, myriad swords. Arrows and swords were coming at Chen Xiaobei at the same time. Chapter 728, Killing the Dragon with a Combat Axe. Swoosh. 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 In an instant, 10,000 arrows were targeted and shot at Chen Xiaobei. With 10,000 arrows swarming the sky, the air ripping and a series of high-pitched sounds could be heard by everyone. Although the marksmanship of Xianjian faction disciples was not great, it was still better than most people. 10,000 arrows were coming in from different directions. With the number of arrows being shot at Chen Xiaobei, there was simply no way for Chen Xiaobei to dodge the attack. Like an arrow dragon, it crushed at Chen Xiaobei with no mercy. Swoosh! At the same time, tens of thousands of broken swords gathered and formed a sword dragon once again. Its power was 3 times more powerful than the previous sword dragon. With Lu Ziwan channeling all his remaining strength to it, the sword dragon and arrow dragon worked together to power up each other's destructive force. Immediately, their powers had increased double. Bastard! You are going to die this time. The force all these 2 dragons are enough to destroy an entire mountain. That's right. Such an impressive scene will not happen again for another few decades. This is the combined force of the entire faction. It is going to be a tale for us to tell everyone. No more doubt this time. This bastard will definitely be killed by us this time, even if he can come up with some divine skills. That's right. This battle is so fun and intense. Ha ha ha. After launching such powerful attack, everyone from Xuanjian faction could feel their blood rushing through their veins. This was the type of excitement that they never felt before. Twin Dragon Attack. Powerful. Dominating. Impressive. Most of the people would see this as an ultimate achievement. And they could brag this tale to everyone that they met until the day they die. Please don't kill my grandpa. Don't kill him please, Lu Suingzhen cried. A few minutes ago, she was worried that Chen Xiaobei might be killed by her grandfather. Now, she kept on repeat the same thing to remind Chen Xiaobei not to kill her grandfather. The reason behind her worry was because she was the only one that witnessed Chen Xiaobei nullify Lu Ziwan's attack in an unexplainable way. And the same thing was going to happen again. If these 2 dragons were supported by elites with celestial cultivation, I will surely die. Unfortunately, you are just an elite with true nirvana cultivation. I'm going to repeat the same thing again. Your attack is useless on me. Swoosh! 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 Swinging his hand, 3 2 meters long cylindrical-shaped things were being tossed at the twin dragon. What? What the hell is that? Taken aback, the crowd's attention was being attracted by something. Seconds later, all of Chen Xiaobei's enemies started to scream hysterically. 2 tomahawk missiles. 3 of them. Oh my god! What kind of monster is he? How the hell did he come up with 3 tomahawk missiles from his sleeves? Could I be seeing it wrongly? This is literally hacking. Amidst the continuous screaming of the crowd, Lu Ziwan looked petrified. This is not possible. I must be dreaming. Lu Ziwan did not know how to respond to what he just witnessed anymore. He thought that he was just dreaming. No matter what, he refused to believe in what he just saw. Boom! 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 The truth was the truth. There was no way that he could deny it. Followed by 3 huge explosions, the tomahawk missiles landed on the dragon head, neck, and waist. The story behind the name was that it could break carrier and fighter jets in half like things being sliced in half by a tomahawk. That was exactly what all 3 tomahawk missiles just did to the sword and arrow dragon. The dragon heads, necks, and waist were shattered into pieces. In the end, the blast waves managed to destroy the dragon body easily. In an instant, countless broken swords and arrows rained down from the sky. Within seconds, Chen Xiaobei countered the 2 ultimate skills that Xuanjian faction and Lu Ziwan were proud. This is not possible. This is definitely impossible. At that moment, every single disciple of Xuanjian faction including Lu Ziwan were left in bewilderment. Feeling empty and lost, none of them could figure out what just happened to their attack. They would rather believe that ghosts existed in this world than admit that they just witnessed a kid bring out tomahawk missiles from his sleeves. This is hacking. Things were about to get more interesting. Swoop! 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 Chen Xiaobei proceeded to toss a dozen small missiles at them. Pow! Following the loud explosion, Lu Ziwan was the first one to get hurt because he stood the nearest to Chen Xiaobei. Before he could do anything about it, he was sent to the sky while he was screaming in agony. Splat! Lu Ziwan landed on the ground seconds later. His white hair and face were burned. A mouthful of blood trickled out his mouth. His long expensive robe turned into rags, looking like a beggar lying on the ground. He could not even come up with enough strength to get up. Earlier, he was confident enough that the attack from Xianjian faction was powerful enough to kill Chen Xiaobei easily. That was why he did not channel True Kong to protect himself. Luckily, he possessed 50,000 health, if not, he would definitely be torn into pieces by the missiles. Of course, it was fortunate that Chen Xiaobei decided not to use tomahawk missiles on him. If not, Lu Suingzhen would definitely be killed. He was after all Lu Suingzhen's grandfather, that was why Chen Xiaobei did not want to kill him. Still, Chen Xiaobei had to teach him a good lesson. The missiles were going to remind him not to mess with Chen Xiaobei anymore. Boom! 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 Following by that, explosions started to spread across from where the disciples gathered. Since the rest of them had more time to react to Chen Xiaobei's attack. Before the explosion, they had already started to run for their lives. However, there were still a few hundred of them who got hurt by the shrapnel of the missiles, causing them to bleed non-stop and died on the spot. Oh my god! What kind of monster is that? Run! Everybody run! 10,000 people were like ants on a hot pot. All of them started to run like there was no tomorrow. They even left Lu Ziwan behind. See that? No one can stop me if I want to leave. Chen Xiaobei then turned around, carried Lu Suingzhen, and stepped over Lu Ziwan slowly with domineering aura exuding from him. Chapter 729, Lu Suingzhen's Cautiousness. The most powerful faction in Jianghu, from elders to the disciples, all of them started to run as fast as possible, like rats that saw a cat. On the other hand, Lu Ziwan looked like he just came out from a coal mine. His entire body had turned black. Even his front teeth were gone. Who would have thought that the powerful Xianjian faction would be destroyed by Chen Xiaobei so easily? Is my grandpa okay? Asked Lu Suingzhen. Lying in Chen Xiaobei's embrace, she still could not stop crying. He is doing good. He would have turned into ashes if I want to kill him, said Chen Xiaobei while shrugging. Really? That is great. I'm glad as long as he is still alive. After hearing Chen Xiaobei told him that her grandfather was still alive, she could finally let out a sigh of relief. At the same time, she was extremely shocked as well. It was hard for her to imagine what kind of person Chen Xiaobei was. Taking out the missiles out of nowhere certainly baffled her. That was not the thing an ordinary person could do. It was more realistic than watching a sci-fi movie. She could still remember Chen Xiaobei being very weak when she first met him. After that, when Beixian faction was formed, Chen Xiaobei still did not possess high combat power. However, he somehow possessed the ability to summon lightning to defeat all those ninjas of the Octadic Spectral Squad. Until now, Chen Xiaobei had just achieved true nirvana cultivation. With the help of some inhuman technique, he managed to defeat everyone from Xianjian faction. Though Lu Suingzhen had seen a lot of things throughout her life, Chen Xiaobei had managed to broaden her perspective of what a human could do. It seemed that this grown man around the age of 20 had no limits to the things he could do. He could do whatever others could only imagine in their heads. It was as if he was born to shake up everyone's lives. Wherever he went, people would feel shocked by the things that he could do. Who are you? Staring at Chen Xiaobei quietly, Lu Suingzhen realized that she still had a long way to go before she could figure out Chen Xiaobei completely. Who am I? You don't have to know about that. All you need to know is I will never cause harm to you. Why do you treat me so kindly? Lady, can you stop overthinking? Although I'm not related to you, I couldn't stand that the two powerful men of the Lu family were taking advantage of an innocent girl like you. Does that mean you always treat all the girls that you meet in such lively manner? Not really. I'm not as great as you think I am. To be honest, I do have some selfish thoughts in my mind. Selfish thought? Could it mean you want to take advantage of me as well? Taken aback, Lu Suingzhen immediately covered her chest. Damn! I'm not the kind of person you think I am. I know that you are a very pretty girl. Trust me. I don't go and play around with girls' feelings. Are you sure about that? If that is real, why would you? Lu Suingzhen's voice suddenly trailed off as she looked really nervous, with her face flushed like an apple. Luckily there was a white veil covering her face, if not the look on her face would reveal everything. What did I do to you? Bewildered, other than hugging her, Chen Xiaobei could not think of any other dirty stuff that he did to her. You are hugging me. And you tell me that you don't play around with girls' feelings. Other than you, no other man has hugged me before. Lady! You must have hit your head. If I don't carry you, do you think you can walk by yourself? Or should I carry you on my back? If you don't mind pressing your soft pillows against my back. Soft pillows? What are you talking about? At that moment, Lu Suingzhen could not understand Chen Xiaobei. Suddenly, she realized that a perverted gaze behind the Monkey King mask was indulging her voluptuous bosom. Asshole! Dream on! You don't get to carry me on your back. I will never let you take advantage of me. Glaring at Chen Xiaobei, Lu Suingzhen covered her breast with her hands even tighter now. Are all women this paranoid? Not all men have bad intentions. When you come to bed with me, you are going to ask for more. Chen Xiaobei mumbled and pouted. You asshole! You are getting more and more ridiculous. Who is going to bed with you? If you say something like that again, I'm not going to go with you. Like kitten's tail being stepped on, Lu Suingzhen lost her composure. Lady! Why are you getting so agitated? You're making it seem like I've had sex with you before. It was just a metaphor. Can't you understand that? Chen Xiaobei was pretty sure this woman was extremely paranoid as he shook his head. No metaphors. I'd advise you to clear off all those dirty thoughts from your filthy mind. If not, you are not going to come with me, right? Don't worry. I promise you that I will not take advantage of you, said Chen Xiaobei in a serious manner. Though Chen Xiaobei had a mask on his face, Lu Suingzhen could sense that Chen Xiaobei was being sincere. It made her feel really safe by sticking to Chen Xiaobei. You don't look too well. Let me take off the white veil for you. It can help you to breathe better. Don't take it off. I warn you. If you take off my white veil, I will not forgive you till the end of my days. Damn! You are overreacting. You are not ugly, said Chen Xiaobei in a frustrated manner. One could never figure a woman out completely. Chen Xiaobei simply could not understand what Lu Suingzhen was thinking. You have to promise me, said Lu Suingzhen in a determined manner. All right. I promise you. I will never take off your white veil. Chen Xiaobei nodded his head and felt like laughing out loud. After all, he possessed Golden Gaze fiery eyes, so the white veil actually did not make any difference. However, Chen Xiaobei was a man of his word. Once he promised something to someone, he would definitely not break it. That was why he did not use his Golden Gaze fiery eyes to look through the white veil. Okay. You said that you have some selfish thought in your mind? What's with that? Because I want to participate in the upcoming martial arts competition. Lu Ziwan had raised you like a little dumb piggy. He wanted to retrieve the mystical holy hexworm from your body and transfer your cultivation to Lu Shenyi. I will never be crowned as a champion if I allow him to do so. That is why I need to help you. Are you trying to say that my grandpa and brother have been lying to me for almost 20 years? I will retrieve the hexworm from your body later and you will know the truth. Chapter 730, Encouraging me to do something unlawful. Chen Xiaobei found a small river in the jungle away from Xianjian faction. He put Lu Suingzhen on the ground gently, then took out 100 herbs potion from his pocket and handed it to her. Drink it and rest. I'm going to get ready to help you to retrieve the hexworm from your body. Okay. Lu Suingzhen nodded obediently. By nature, she was an independent and strong-willed woman, all-powerful in the Lu family. In Chen Xiaobei's presence, however, she was really soft-spoken and compliant. She then lifted her white veil slightly and drank the potion. What kind of medicine is this? It's so magical. I can feel that all the tiredness from my body is slowly fading away. My strength is slowly coming back as well. This is some secret formula from my family. You will not understand it even if I explain it to you. Just rest. I will call you when I have everything ready. Chen Xiaobei made something up to look convincing. As he could not fully trust her yet, there were things he would not explain to her, not even removing his mask. Leaning on a tree, he took out his cell phone and started a conversation with Taiyin True Deity. Taiyin True Deity always paid attention to Chen Xiaobei, sending him a reply almost immediately. Taiyin True Deity, Brother Xiaobei. How can I help you? Chen Xiaobei, I would like to ask. How can I retrieve a mystical yin holy hexworm from one's body? Taiyin True Deity, this is simple. I'm going to teach you a true qi technique to allows you to break the mystical yin seal. Chen Xiaobei, all right. Brother. Good one. Taiyin True Deity, oh right. After you retrieve the mystical yin holy hexworm, please send it to me. I'll help you modify it. After that, you will be able to absorb all the power within the hexworm. This is the fastest way to increase your cultivation. Chen Xiaobei, I can increase my cultivation. The one that has the hexworm inside her body possesses 45,000 combat power. How much combat power can I get from her? Taiyin True Deity, you can get at least 1/3 of it. That is around 15,000 combat power. Also, the increase would be instantaneous. Face screaming in fear. Chen Xiaobei, what the hell? That is a lot. Taiyin True Deity, hee. You don't have to feel too shocked about it. As you can see, the hexworm that you mentioned to me is just a descendant of the mystical yin holy hexworm. When I capture the second or third mystical yin holy hexworm, I will make them absorb a few spiritual pulses for you. That is what I'd call awesome. 10,000 combat power is actually nothing. Chen Xiaobei, what the hell? 10,000 combat power only? Brother. That is crazy. Do you know how long I need to cultivate in order to gain several thousand combat power? Taiyin True Deity, haha. Don't mind me. You are just a human now. In the future, you will know that I'm simply speaking the truth. Chen Xiaobei, I have one more question. Using your way to retrieve the hexworm, will it harm the host in any way? Taiyin True Deity, danger? There's no danger to it. However, the person's cultivation would be destroyed completely. In 3 years, the person's body will slowly deteriorate and die eventually. Chen Xiaobei, I cannot let that happen. I just want to help her. Actually, I don't want her cultivation. Is there another way to retrieve this hexworm? Taiyin True Deity, of course, there is. However, are you going to give up an opportunity to have a 15,000 combat power increment? You can save a lot of time by doing so. After looking at the message on his phone, Chen Xiaobei hesitated. On one hand, this woman was not related to him, but on the other hand, he could easily gain 15,000 combat power. All he needed to do was to say yes and he could secure his future. After retrieving the hexworm, he could immediately receive 15,000 combat power. Also, he would be able to dominate the entire martial arts competition easily. At only 22 years old, he would be considered as the #1 prodigy in the whole of China. Combined with the Primordial Witch King Combat Enhancement Training Manual, he could even reach the top of God of War leaderboard where he could fight with elites with celestial cultivation from ancient factions. Without a doubt, a way to bring himself to the top of Jianghe was before him. If he was fine with it, he would become the most powerful elite. Of course, there was another ending to this matter. Give up the 15,000 combat power and let Lu Suingzhen be healed completely. After that, he would need to go back to the old way to create his own path. Clearly, the latter way was filled with difficulties and the unknown. It might even cost his life. Most of the people would definitely pick the easy way. Not Chen Xiaobei, of course. His pride would never allow him to go back on his word. Moreover, if he took possession of Lu Suingzhen's cultivation, he was no different from Lu Ziwan and Lu Shenyi. Also, he would become someone that he hated the most. On the surface, it might seem like a tough choice to Chen Xiaobei. Truthfully, Chen Xiaobei had already made up his mind without hesitation. The lady in white could be seen reflected in his eyes. He had to do right by his moral compass and conscience. He knew that the decision that he picked changed the course of his life. Chen Xiaobei, brother. I'm certain of my decision. I don't want her cultivation. Please teach me another way to retrieve the hexworm. Taiyin true deity, you are worthy to be called the prime of Tongtian's disciple. Such a wonderful character, just like the prime of Tongtian. I'm impressed. Chen Xiaobei, of course. I will never embarrass my Saifu. Taiyin true deity, that's good. Back to serious business. The other way to retrieve the hexworm is actually pretty troublesome. You have to use your yang qi to break the mystical yin seal from within her body. Chen Xiaobei, from inside her body? Are you trying to ask me to put a pure yang spiritual item into her body? Taiyin true deity, spiritual item is useless. You will need a living yang being. Like a man. Chen Xiaobei, a man. Are you asking me to have sex with her? Face screaming in fear. Taiyin true deity, yes. Having sex is a more direct method. Judging from your reaction, I don't think the person can take it. So, you can opt to kiss her instead. Chen Xiaobei, smiling face with open mouth and cold sweat. I don't think she will allow me to kiss her as well. Taiyin true deity, brother. As the disciple of the prime of Tongtian, you are not bound by any rules. Just do whatever you want. If she doesn't allow you to kiss her, just force yourself onto her. Chen Xiaobei, smiling face with open mouth and cold sweat. Smiling face with open mouth and cold sweat. Smiling face with open mouth and cold sweat. Brother. You are asking me to do something unlawful. Taiyin true deity, I'm teaching you something new here. There shouldn't be anything in this world can stop you from doing what you want. And she is just a woman. Where are your guts? How are you going to survive the calamity if you can't bring yourself to do it? Nothing shall bind me in heaven or on earth. I'm in charge of my own fate. After listening to Taiyin true deity, Chen Xiaobei was reminded of what the prime of Tongtian told him earlier. He had little patience then, with blood rushing to his head. Chen Xiaobei, brother. Please tell me more about it. I'm going to break the seal now. I want to make my Saifu proud. Taiyin true deity, a real man. Listen to me. You have to this. Soon, Chen Xiaobei had learned the way to break the seal in detail. He then marched over to Lu Suingzhen. Are you ready? Before she could reply, her white veil was lifted and a soft kiss was planted on her sensual lips.